Good day, everyone. Today, we'll keep ourselves abreast with RA 7610, also known as the Special Protection of Children Against Child Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. Let us start the discussion by identifying when do a child's right begin. In Article 2 of Section 12 in the 1987 Constitution, it provides that the state recognizes the sanctity of family life and shall protect and strengthen the family as a basic and autonomous social institution. It shall protect the life of the mother and the life of the unborn from conception. Also, in Article 3 of Presidential Decree 603, a child is endowed with the dignity and worth of human being from the moment of conception, as generally accepted in medical parlance, and is therefore entitled with the right to be born well. As we can see, the right of the child to be born well is enshrined in the Constitution. It is the lookout of the state to make sure that the children are given proper care and nutrition, and at the same time, protected from all forms of neglect, abuse, cruelty, exploitation, and other conditions that may prejudice their development. But who are considered as children? The term children refers to the person who are either below 18 years of age or over 18 years of age but unable to fully take care or protect themselves from abuse, neglect, cruelty, exploitation, or discrimination due to physical or mental disability or condition. And now, to fully understand RA 7610, let us know why it was enacted. It was enacted to provide special protection to children from all forms of abuse, neglect, cruelty, exploitation, discrimination, and other condition prejudicial to their development. RA 7610 encompasses the employment of children. Generally, children below 15 years old cannot be employed, permitted, or suffered to work in any public or private establishment, except under the following circumstances. Number 1, when a child works directly under his parents or legal guardian. Number 2, when the employment of a child is essential in a public entertainment or information such as cinema, theater, radio, television, or other forms of media. However, if there are violations as to the employment of the children pursuant to RA 7610, the work permit of the child may be cancelled. The Regional Director of the Department of Labor and Employment may cancel the work permit of the child on the following grounds. Number 1, fraud or misrepresentation in the application of the work permit. Number 2, violation of the terms and conditions of the children employment contract. Number 3, failure to institute measures to ensure the protection, health, safety, morals, and normal development of the child. Number 4, failure to formulate and implement a program for the education, training, and skills acquisition of the child. Or number 5, depriving the child of access to formal, non-formal, or alternative learning system of education. In this law, it sets the parameters of hours of work of working children. If below 15 years old, it should not be more than 4 hours per day, and no work between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. If 15 to 18 years old, it should not be more than 8 hours per day, and no work between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. A child is prohibited to be employed in the following instances. Number 1, as a model in any advertisement which directly or indirectly promote alcoholic beverages or intoxicating drinks, tobacco and its byproducts, gambling, violence, or pornography. Number 2, in worst form of labor like slavery, prostitution, illegal or illicit activities, and other similar worst form of labor. If a child is earning his income or property, the income of the working child belongs to him alone. It shall be used primarily for his support, education, or skills acquisition, and secondarily, to the collective needs of the family to the extent of 20% of the income. The income of the working child, as well as any property acquired through the work of the child, shall be administered by both parents. If the child earns at least 200,000 pesos a year, the administrator is required to set up at least 30% of the earnings as to the trust fund. Full control over the trust fund should be turned over to the child upon reaching the age of majority, which is 18 years old. If the child earns less than 200,000 a year, at least 30% of the income should be deposited in a savings account.
There are criminal offenses against children under RA 7610. First, child prostitution and other sexual abuse. This exists when a child, whether male or female, indulges in sexual intercourse or lascivious conduct for money or any other consideration, or due to coercion or influence of any adult, syndicate, or group. Second, attempt to commit child prostitution. Mere attempt to commit child prostitution is punishable under the law. The penalty for attempt to commit child prostitution is 2 degrees lower than that of the consummated child prostitution. An example of this is when a person is receiving services from a child in a sauna parlor or bath, massage clinic, health club, and other similar establishments. The next one is child trafficking. There is child trafficking when a person engages in trading or dealing children, including but not limited to the act of buying and selling of a child for money or for any other consideration or bargain. The penalty for child trafficking is reclusion temporal to reclusion perpetua. The penalty shall be imposed to its maximum period when the victim is under 12 years of age. The fourth one is attempt to commit child trafficking. Attempt to commit child trafficking is punishable. The penalty for attempt to commit child trafficking is 2 degrees lower than the prescribed for the consummated child trafficking. An example of this is when a pregnant woman executes an affidavit of consent for the adoption of her child for a consideration. The fifth one is child pornography and indecent shows and publication. What is punishable here is the act of hiring, employing, using, persuading, inducing, or coercing a child to A. Perform in obscene exhibitions, indecent shows, whether live or video. B. Act as a model in obscene publication or pornographic materials. Or C. Sell or distribute obscene publication or pornographic materials. The penalty for this act is prison mayor in its medium period. If the child used as a performer is below 12 years old, the penalty is prisión mayor in its maximum period. And finally, the last one is other acts of neglect, abuse, cruelty, or exploitation and under condition prejudicial to the child's development, which includes first, cruelty, physical abuse, neglect, psychological, emotional maltreatment. Next, any act to be deeds or words which degrades or demeans the intrinsic worth and dignity of a child as a human being. Third, unreasonable deprivation of his basic needs such as food and shelter. And lastly, failure to immediately give medical treatment to injured child, resulting in serious impairment of his growth and development or in his permanent incapacity or death.
Establishments which promote or facilitate child prostitution and other sexual abuse, child trafficking, obscene publications, indecent shows, and other acts of abuse shall be subjected to the following sanctions. First, immediate closure. Second, cancellation of their authority or license to operate. And third is prosecution of the owner. All cases involving acts punishable under this Act, as amended, is vested to family courts. In cities or provinces where there are none, regional trial courts and the municipal trial courts shall have concurrent jurisdiction depending on the penalties prescribed the offense charged. Do you know that you, the one beside you, and one more, yes, just at least 3 concerned responsible citizens where the violation occurred can file a complaint? Also, the following can file a complaint. First, the offended party itself. Second, the parents or guardians. Third, ascendant or collateral relative within the 3rd degree of consanguinity. Fourth is the officer, social worker, or representative of a licensed child-caring institution. Fifth, the officer or social worker of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. And sixth, the barangay chairman of the place where the violation occurred or where the child is residing or employed. The child victim shall be immediately placed under the protective custody of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Custody proceedings shall be in accordance with the provision of Presidential Decree Number 603. It is unlawful for any editor, publisher, reporter, or columnist in one of printed materials, announcer or producer in case of television and radio broadcasting, producer and director of the film in case of movie industry, to cause any undue and sensationalized publicity of any case in violation of this Act, which may result in the oral degradation and suffering of the offended party. Article 15, Section 3 of the 1987 Constitution states that the state shall defend the right of children to assistance, including proper care and nutrition, and special protection from all forms of neglect, abuse, cruelty, exploitation, and other conditions prejudicial to their development. To which extent a child be protected with this provision? Children in conflict with the law refers to a person under 18 years old who is accused of having committed an offense under Philippine laws. Children below 18 but above 15 years old are exempted from criminal liability if he acted without discernment, but the child will be subjected to an intervention program, the same as children below 15 years old. However, if the child below 18 but above 15 years old acted with discernment, the child is no longer exempted from the criminal liability and will be subjected to the appropriate proceedings. Intervention refers to a series of activities which are designed to address the issues that cause the child to commit an offense. It may take the form of an individualized treatment program, which may include counseling, skills training, education, and other activities that will enhance his psychological, emotional, and psychosocial well-being. The exemption is limited to criminal liability only and not to civil liability. Children in conflict with the law enjoy the presumption of minority until he is proven to be 18 years old or older. The age of a child may be determined from the child's birth certificate, baptismal certificate, or any other pertinent documents. Children below 18 years of age are exempted of prosecution for the following crimes. First, prostitution. Second, mendicancy. And third is sniffing of rugby. These children will just undergo appropriate counseling treatment program.
Maya! Maya! ba sinabi ko pumimi ka lang dito sa bahay? Tanghaling tapat ang init-init. Inauna mo pa yung paglalago? Gusto mo pakain ko sa'yo yan? Ha? Gusto mo pakain ko sa'yo yan? Ba't hindi ka nakikinig? Ha? Ba't di ka nakikinig, ha? Wag na wag kang aalis dito. Ha?
Bumalik ka dito! Dito! Hindi ka magdadala! Ha?
Sabi ng nanay at tatay ko, pinapalo nila ako. Kasi, mahal nila ako. Kasi, dapat daw tayong matuto. Kaya ka pinalo.
Tama yun.
Siguro.
Eh di paglaki natin, mamamalo din tayo.